Why you don't want to fight me? Let's go right now. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. You're bluffing, bro.
And they're me and you why you don't want to fight me. Let's go right now. Shakur Stevenson and Lomachenko recently got into a heated ringside altercation, almost coming to blows in the middle of the event. Meanwhile, Shakur, who has been clamoring for big fights against names like Dana Davies, and Lomachenko faced disappointment once again when Lomachenko announced that he won't be fighting this year for a lack of motivation, apparently evading both Tank and Shakur for some time off from boxing. Now, this might have been an excellent opportunity for Tank and Shakur to have their long-awaited battle, but according to Shakur, despite numerous endeavors to make this happen, no response has been given so far from Tank's side, further intensifying the rumors of Shakur being deliberately ignored by his fellow fighters. Is that said, or what, is there any truth to it? November, that on the other hand, during the sensational debut of the Riot season in the United States, His Excellency Turki Alek divulged his future plans concerning many phenomenal boxers, including Shakur Stevenson and Terence Bud Crawford. Disclosing his plans for Shakur, Turki stated that he wants to orchestrate a bout between him and William Zappa. Turki stated, "I want to see Shakur Stevenson fight Zappa." He accepted the offer. De La Hoya and Eddie accepted this as well, so let's do it. However, Turki's claim to have Oscar De La Hoya on board is quite ambiguous, as the promoter recently mentioned on his Twitter that he is not fond of this fight, and the order that was recently issued by the WBC instructing Shakur to face Zappa for his title defense, because according to Oscar, at this given stage, Zappa has many other propositions, which are far more lucrative than the one offered for Shakur. Let's start with the WBC and ordering Shakur Stevenson versus William Zappa. Ordering, what does that mean? They ordered Canelo Benavides like 3 years ago, and that hasn't happened. William will make his decision very soon, and he have landing another blow. Oscar issued a blunt statement to cease any rumors about Shakur joining Golden Boy Promotions, stating that he is not inquisitive about the idea of promoting a fighter who has no devotion to fight for the boxing fans. Shakur Stevenson, you're a free agent, you're a great fighter, great talent, but not for me. I believe that when somebody says you're not fighting for the public, exasperated by the incessant refusals and slanders, Shakur could not help but confront one of his opponents, Lomachenko, while in attendance at the August 3rd event, taunting the Ukrainian fighter for allegedly ducking him. Just like Tank, Shakur dared the fighter to face him inside the ring, to which a usually tranquil Lomachenko blasted, stating that he is ready for the fight at any moment. There and there, me and you, why you don't want to fight, let's go. Righty, clarifying the whole situation during his departure from the arena. Shakur stated how many fighters like Tank and Lomachenko had been taking advantage of him by keeping him in a loop, so it was only fair that he confronted Lomachenko about his empty promises of facing him inside the ring. Shakur stated he won again. He got tough outside the ring, but I told him that let's set a fight. Shakur also appeared captivated by the possibility of His Excellency arranging these big fights for him in the near future. But somewhere in his mind, the doubts still lurked that these big fighters would still reject his offer. Shakur added, "I mean, I would love to make the fight, but it doesn't seem like Lomachenko wants to fight me. He wants to fake that he wants to fight me while outside the ring." But regardless of this supposed animosity between the fighters that resulted in them almost hashing it out right then and there, Shakur, after settling down once again, took to Twitter to offer a chance to Lomachenko to confront him inside the ring, just like he claimed to do so during their argument. Shakur wrote, "So Vasily Lomachenko, are you finally in the mood to fight now? Let's run it at the end of the year, tough guy. Seems like you're finally in the mood." Meanwhile, seemingly nonchalant by this whole ordeal, Lomachenko recapitulated his desire to take some time off from boxing to rest and to find his groove back, which has been lacking in his recent performances. On being asked about his comeback plans, LMA brushed it aside, stating that currently he has no opponent in his mind that he wants to go against. He stated, "I'll fight from next year. Right now, the plan is to rest, and all boxing business will start from the new year now," with clear indications presented by His Excellency for arranging a potential match between Shakur Stevenson and William Zappa very soon, and Lomachenko seemingly out of the picture this year. The boxing industry has given their perspectives about this bout. Eddie Hearn, being an eminent promoter, stated how this fight is preferable for Shakur than the one with Gant Davies, and Vasily Lomachenko, being aware of the aged status of Shakur, Eddie once again verbalized his interest in promoting Shakur after a supposedly productive meeting that he had with his team recently. You know that a lot of meat with him and his team this week. Great team, great people love to work with him. I still think Zaper is the fight to make. Eddie also chastised the statements made by Oscar relating to not letting Zap fight Shakur, despite the fighter being earnest about the idea. According to Eddie, these are the decisions that should ultimately be made by the fighters themselves based on their own person motives rather than the promoters who are often predisposed by politics. Shakur, maybe he wants this, maybe he wants the money. And at that point, you have to say to your promoter, I want that fight, I want that money, with all due respect, whatever you don't like, this is what I want. The fighter is the boss, and fighters need to understand that you tell your promoter what you want now. If they can deliver it or not, it might not be easy to deliver. But you have to tell your promoter what you want. If you want a shot at the world title, if you want a massive payday, you tell your promoter that I want to fight Shakur Stevenson. And Oscar, I'm sure, wants to make a big fight. And who knows, Eddie also highlighted the past statements made by Oscar regarding not permitting Zera to fight Shakur until or unless he signs with Golden Boy, calling this decision heedless and insensitive towards Zerpa, who wants a chance to fight for a world title. Eddie stated, why would you not be interested in that fight? I mean, Zerpa wants to fight for the world title, and I'm sure he wants to make a lot of money. There's a lot of money in Shakur Stevenson. He further added, it is just because you don't want to work with these people, you got nothing to do with it. And it's so disrespectful to fight or another person who seems excited about this possible fight is Jay Prince, an aided supporter of Shakur and a famous TV personality who disclosed how the talks about this fight are being considered and how soon they will reach a conclusion. He stated, it's still in there. We are still having conversations. And when it's done, I'm going to be the first to let everybody know. Jay Pananar, who is William Zappa's head coach, also appeared rapturous about this fight, stating how this fight is advantageous for both the fighters, as not only is this a booming offer money-wise, but it might also be good for them as they are in their primes, meaning they want to strive for greatness. Jay stated, it looks like everything is planned out. We have been waiting for the moment to be right, and it looks like everything's right. The money's right, the time's right. You got two guys, and their prime one's the number one, and the other one is a champion, reflecting on the ceaseless berating that Shakur is subjected to because of his supposedly boring fighting style. Prince pointed out that the fighting style adopted by Shakur is unique and technical, which might be something that goes over the heads of many people, but for those with a keen eye for these things, they have always appreciated Shakur's unique approach. People don't understand art and science and boxing. You know what I mean? Those who really know what boxing about, but compliment Shakur on his style and not being able to be hit and not get hit. You know what I mean? That's a sweet science of boxing. But those that's nay, or those that don't understand the depth of boxing, that you know what I mean, they got the right to have an opinion. So even though Shakur supporters and fans might think that Shakur's last performance against Art Herod Union was satisfactory, and that he was able to salvage some of his already tarnished reputation, most of the boxing community thought that this was not the performance that Shakur should be putting forward if he plans on moving forward to fight guys like Von Davies and Lomachenko, giving his take on this marketability situation that has been overshadowing Shakur's victories. Jim Lampley, a famous boxing reporter and the anchor, weighed in on this, stating that at times it appears as if Shakur is choosing his style inside the ring against what the fans urge him to do, which is not a very smart decision in the long run. I'm going to bend to the demand to be entertaining and therefore take risks that might not necessarily benefit me in the ring. And how much am I going to stick to the mantra that my trainer has taught me, the approach that my intelligent understanding of boxing has given to me and taught to me? Jim also pointed out how another thing that has led to this point might also be attributed to the choice of opponents made by Shakur or his team, which ultimately have hindered his performance in the recent fights, further explicating his